All right. Hey, everybody. I'm Pastor Megan, and I'm the pastor of Grace Lutheran and the author of several books on transitional wisdom. And today I have with me...
Hi, I'm Lee Finke. Hello, everyone. I am an author and media producer from St. Paul, Minnesota.
Awesome. Do you want to tell people anything else about your identity? Like my pronouns are they and them for people who use pronouns. But if people don't use pronouns, that makes me the happiest.
Oh, yeah. So my pronouns are she, her. I'm a trans woman. And I do work in the space of religion, specifically Christianity and queer youth, and how Christianity has been used to harm queer youth. And a phrase I like is youth who are part of Christian families, because I know a lot of young queer people have a hard time identifying as Christian. So that's sort of like my space.
Yeah.
So I've got 2 books coming out, and I got a couple
Yes.
movies in my backpack, and yeah, I've been making stuff in this world. So
Yeah, and I'm excited. Like the amount of work that goes into having 2 books come out simultaneously, I can't even imagine. But you have Queerfully and Wonderfully Made, a guide for LGBTQ teens, LGBTQ plus Christian teens, and Welcoming and Affirming, a guide for supporting and working with LGBTQ plus Christian youth. So you have both the part that's for like youth who wanna go through it kind of on their own, and the one for people who are adults who want to like be the shepherds kind of in that process, right?
Right, yeah. So the original book that I pitched to create was what became Queerfully and Wonderfully Made. That's what I care about the most, right? That's my passion. Like, we need to make something for these kids, the kind of thing that I would have wanted when I was 15. But in the process of developing that, it just became clear, like, hey, we can make another version of this for adults. A lot of the same research, a lot of the same sort of groundwork goes into both of them. So it was a good opportunity to just, go to the adults and say, you need to know this stuff too. And here's how you should be operating in the world of queer youth.
And they're both on pre-order. August 25th is when they come out, right?
Yep. You can get them at whatever your local bookstore is.
Yeah, 2020.
You don't need to buy them on Amazon. You can get them on Amazon, but you can also probably pre-order them at any bookstore.
That's right. Can you tell us a little bit particularly about Queerfully and Wonderfully Made? Like, is this a book for someone who already has their faith all figured out? Can it be something that someone who's kind of in the teenage-ness of everything kind of being wonky? Like, what's the kind of person who's going to pick up this book?
I mean, I tried to make this book for anyone who feels a little bit different, like whether they're right at the beginning stages of like, maybe they're a little bit afraid to explore the thing that's starting to come out, but they know it's there and they can just go to a library and peek through it. Or people who are out and who are still like, I don't know how to navigate every arena of my life as a LGBTQ teenager, or I'm out at church, but I'm afraid about school. It tries to sort of break out all of the different areas in which people live. So it's for young people of faith. It's certainly not for young people whose faith is solid. It's for, as the author, I was also trying to write it for people who are not of faith, but who are in communities of faith, like I said. So the hope is that it will speak to whomever is 13 to however old that is having those feelings, those queer feelings, that first pin.
And you mentioned that you were working on the book that you wish you would have had when you were 15.
Yeah.
What was 15-year-old you like?
Oh, 15-year-old Lee was very closeted, but starting to emerge. So I have a very long and complicated relationship to Christianity, and the really short version of it is I spent the year that I was 15 knocking on the door of coming out gay, because there was certainly no concept of transness in 1995 in my suburban community. So if you were different, you were gay. And I got very close to that. And I got very scared of that because of my family and the world I lived in. So then I became a born-again Christian. and I didn't come out for 20 more years. So what I would have liked right at that minute is somebody or something to have been like, it's okay, you can keep going forward. But there was nothing in my life for that. So that's what I want this book to be. Like, you're perfect. I know it feels like it might not be true, but trust me, it's true.
Yeah, I love that even the title is like, it's not an apology. It's not like 8 ways you can learn to like tolerate something. It's like, you are queerfully and wonderfully made. Like, let's go from that starting point rather than from apology.
Yeah, and I mean, that's one of the things in the original documents here when I pitched it to the publisher. It was like, what we're missing in the conversations around LGBTQ lives of faith is that we need to stop doing the work of this is why it's okay and then go forward, right? So I wanted this very much to be like on the first page, it's like, anyone who says that is wrong, and that's wrong. It's your mom, it's your pastor, it doesn't matter. If they say you can't be queer, they're wrong, and God agrees with me and not them. Yeah. So I didn't want to leave any room for people to be like, well, what about, nothing.
Yeah. One of my favorite books in seminary, or baby pastor school, as I like to call it, was a book by David Comstock called Queer Theology Without Apology. And so I love this idea that there's more unapologetic works that are being put out into the world.
Yeah. And I mean, I definitely don't want to say that's not super important work.
Yeah.
There are brilliant people doing brilliant work in the world of like making the apologetic argument. That's just not what I wanted to do. And kids certainly don't need to hear that.
Yeah, it's not the book for the 15-year-old. If they want the book about welcoming and affirming, that's the other edition, right? It's the guy.
Yes, exactly.
Both, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So you held both. I think that's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I really wanted to make one specifically for parents also.
Yeah.
But we only got to do one adult version, so it's kind of the all-encompassing parents and youth pastors and everyone.
Yeah, so that's good to know. So it's parents can use it in addition to faith leaders, right?
Right. And I mean, I think it's really important for faith leaders and for parents to, I mean, I want to sell books, obviously, but they really should read both of these. Right. I mean, they really should, I think that Queerfully will work well for anyone who just wants to learn how to be supportive. Yeah. And, welcoming and affirming is going to be a lot more like, okay, if you are in a classroom and you have one queer kid, like, how do you talk about that, right? Like, it gets pretty practical, and I think it should, but there's also a lot to learn just from reading Queerfully.
Yeah, I see behind your shoulder the picture from the film Ending the Silence, Confronting Sexual Shame in the Church.
Yes.
In the white frame. And I just wanted to lift that up as a kind of like a third resource that people could use. Because I think what that film does is it really wonderfully takes complex academic theological arguments and it simplifies them, not in a way that dumbs it down, but like sometimes you just need a cartoon to like make things work, or you need something from 16 Candles to like be like, oh yeah, we've been having these conversations for a long time. It's not scary or new or something the church can't do. And that film kind of takes everything from sexuality, even heterosexual sexuality, and ways that people can talk about it, to like some feminist ideas, to really complex like trans themes and sexual identity. Talks about incarnation theology, right? Like it takes all of these things that are pretty complex and might be scary to faith leaders and makes it really digestible, that I think most people could watch the film and understand both these really nuanced faith arguments and the personal physical pain that people have based on this history in the church. Can you tell people a little bit about the film?
Yeah, so thank you for those kind words and for bringing up the movie. The movie is on Amazon Prime, if anybody wants to screen it. It's an hour-long documentary, and the way that we tried to write it was to draw So it's not a queer issues film. It's really an issue of a film about how sexual shame is used in the history of the church. So it starts with patriarchy, right? It's patriarchy's foundational role. Then it talks about how that was used to create roles for women, right? And so you have this historical vision of what women are and are not allowed to do. And it's sort of like the way this thread of shame kind of needles through the whole history of the church, right? And then as you move forward, you get to LGBTQ folks, trans folks, the way that gendered language is used in churches and into hymns, and then going forward, like how can we break free from this and build a church where everyone is welcome. And it was a part of a project that I worked on called Dialogues on Sexuality. So there's also a book that you can find called Dialogues on Sexuality that partners with the movie if you're looking for more in-depth. It's 7 essays written by brilliant queer and not queer people of faith.
Well, of course there is, because you have to do things in pairs, right?
Right, yeah. we got to give people the message in every version so that nobody is left behind here, you know?
Yeah, and I love that idea that, like, there's a modality for everyone. Like, if books are your thing, here's some books. If movies are your thing, here's some movies.
Yeah.
If conversation,
I mean, there's a leader guide, there's a small group option, right? Like, oh, I want to have this conversation in my church. Well, then you can buy the like leader guide to go with the book and the movie, you know? Like, we're really trying to facilitate it for everyone.
Yeah. You've made it easy. People have no excuse not to do it, right?
They have no excuse, but some of them still don't. Yeah,
that's true. So how has that, I was thinking that, like, how has your personal experiences or one of the things that I work on quite a bit is transitional wisdom, with this idea that we have the wisdom our younger selves need kind of within ourselves. Like, we've learned all of these lessons, and not all of them just are like transitions from like one sex to another. So like, that's not the only kind of trans wisdom that people carry, but every time there's a big change in the world or there's a shift, we like learn all of these lessons. And the more that we can kind of share some of them with each other, I think the world is just a better place to know how we can adapt and change and be kind to ourselves. And so the world has shifted quite a bit in the last little while, right? Right? We're in the middle of a pandemic. There's a lot of racial tension that's happening. There's a whole lot of up in the airness about politics right now. It's just a completely new world. And I wonder, what are some of the ways that you've been caring for yourself during this time?
Yeah, that's a really great and important question. And I mean, there is a lot happening. There's especially a lot happening for queer folks and trans people in particular. And then I live in Midway in St. Paul, which during the uprising was burned and smashed up. So there's just like, I feel like there's so much all the time. Like, I don't even have time to remember that there's a pandemic, right? Time and space is just warped. So, I mean, to take care of myself, I write. I do a lot of writing. I'm able to sort of escape into just like, I'm working on a new book project, and I kind of break down at the end of the night and just like concentrate on that and not have to sort of, I spend a lot of the day looking at the news, you know, and listening to politics podcasts and things that are not particularly healthy. So then it's nice to have that at the end. I also do, I have kids, so 50% of the time my kids are here, and that's the ultimate healing self-care, is just being able to fully put my focus on them and allow them to occupy space and to provide physical touch and smiles and all that stuff. So
is there anything?
Those are probably the two things I do the most. I also take a lot of walks. Right. I have like meditation walks that I take, which are really important to me.
Well, I think that you're delightful. I think the work that you're investing your time and your energy in is delightful. And so I definitely appreciate kind of the humility with which you kind of have brought forth these works, but they are really great gifts for the world. And I personally would like more people to know about these resources and to know about the work that you're up to. Would you let people know the best ways they can be in touch with you? Like how can people follow you online? How can people like contact you to pay you to come and speak at something? What's the ways they can reach out to you?
Yeah. Well, they're very welcome to reach out to me for that. Lee Finke, everywhere online. Lee Finke on Twitter, Lee Finke on Facebook, leefinke.com. You can find me. There's contact information on the website. And yeah, I'd love to talk to anybody about these books. I think, now that this book is done and about to come out, I'm really like trying to figure out the best ways, not just to get people to buy it, but to get it in the hands of young people who won't be able to buy it. And I think the best way to do that is talk to churches and people who are around the space of youth, who know that, there may be a kid who can't have this in their backpack or can't bring it into their home, but really needs to see it. So I'm happy to talk to anyone about how we can do that.
I love that. I kind of hope that there'll be like groups of churches who have like a mission project to just like create. I don't know if kids do this anymore, but back in my day, we used to make like book covers from like grocery store.
Yeah.
And I want there to be like a church that is like making covers for your book that say like trigonometry, like something no adult would ever want to look at, so that kids who live in places where they couldn't openly have a book cover like this can like take it home and like read it when they're in their room and they're supposed to be doing their math homework, right?
To know that's perfect.
Affirmed.
That's like, the perfect idea for like a giveaway. It's like new trigonometry book. Yeah,
right. It's gotta be something boring, but you can't get in trouble for doing it. Yeah, that would be great. I know I heard from one individual who said that their church is going to buy 10 of them and just put them on the table. Yeah. And like, if you want to walk out the door with one, you can. I mean, it's that kind of thing of like just strategies to get it to kids. That's what I care about. Yep. Yeah. So in churches, buy the book so that other people can walk away with them. Free libraries would be a great place for them too.
Yep. And libraries, just in general, school libraries, public libraries, church libraries.
Yeah. Go get the book, everybody.
Please. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you for taking the time to chat with me and to share your work with everybody. I hope a bunch of people seek you out, and I'm excited to see what the next book project is too.
Oh, thank you. I'm having a lot of fun working on it. And thank you so much for your interest and for helping me spread the word about these books.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.